Heat waves are normal, they're natural, they occur, but they typically don't get as intense as this. So that's what climate change does. It doesn't cause anything. Climate change boosts it, it spikes it. It's like injecting steroids into a heat wave and making it do something that it could not have done before. We saw 2 back-to-back heat waves in the West, both of which were basically unprecedented or near unprecedented. The first one in Death Valley, we had a 130-degree temperature, the hottest temperature ever reliably measured on Earth, but that wasn't even the worst one. The one in the beginning of September was worse for a lot of Southern California, especially west of the mountains, where areas near LA got to 121 degrees. These intense heat waves, the actual intensity of them, really is not possible without human-caused climate change. So the intensity of heat waves, in the next few decades will be about 10 degrees hotter than they were back in 1900. So this heat wave then kind of builds a big ridge, big mountain of warm air across the West Coast, all the way up to Alaska. What goes up must come down. And so what happens is all this warmth rushes into the Arctic, or at least northern Canada and Alaska, and Arctic air is forced south into Colorado. So all of a sudden it's 100 degrees in Colorado, 48 hours later it's in the upper 20s, and we have feet of snow in the mountains. This is climate chaos. This is how climate change causes extreme weather. What's happening in the West right now is truly unprecedented. Very few, if any, people alive have seen anything like this. This is the worst that we've had in modern history. Let me connect a direct line between climate change and the wildfires in the West. Almost all of the excess burned area that we've seen over the past few decades can be explained by something called a moisture deficit. So temperatures have risen 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit just over the past few decades. It doesn't sound like much, but that deficit, that gap, is what explains almost all of the excess burned area in the West. Over the past 5 decades, so since the 1970s, we have seen the burned area increased by 5 times across California. The number of extreme fire weather days during the autumn has doubled since the early 80s. So that's how you connect a direct line between extra heat, extra dryness, climate change, and wildfires in the West. The Arctic is warming at 3 times the rate of the rest of the globe. There's a lot of research and a lot of scientists believe that it's throwing the jet stream off kilter and making it more amplified, or kind of slowing it down. And by slowing it down, making it, giving it the ability to be more wavy. And by making it more wavy, the jet stream has more ability to just come down from the far reaches of Canada and the Arctic, or push north from the tropics into the Arctic, pushing extra warm air up there, causing a positive feedback loop with more melting up in the Arctic. So there is an indirect connection between this heating that we're seeing around the Earth and changes in storm tracks and jet streams. And by pushing cold air south to the Gulf of Mexico, and by pushing warm air all the way north towards Alaska, that's an imbalance that happens. And what happens? Big, huge extreme storms form as a result of that. Now that's separate from what happens with hurricanes. Hurricanes don't form because of a contrast between cold and warm. They form purely through what we call thermodynamics. Thermodynamics are heat and moisture. Well, there's more heat and more moisture. So hurricanes are getting stronger, and that trend will continue into the future.